Hey guys, MD Prepper here. Part 10.5 of our 72-hour survival kit from Dollar Tree. We're talking about lighting options. There's a lot of variants to this, a lot of personal choices to be made, just like there are the rest of these kits. I think I've settled on what I'm going to do. Let's talk about battery-operated style lights. Had these two. You saw the videos before. I could not make up my mind which of these I'd like to carry. One is none, two is one. I definitely want two flashlights with me in case I drop one breaks, whatever. Now, these both take different style batteries to them. I kind of wanted to have something that carried all the same. All AA's, all AAA's. I decided not to do that. I just could not decide between these two. They're very different lights with very different purposes, in my opinion. Now, you may choose to do differently. So, if you want to, you could carry two of this one or two of this one. I'm going to carry one of each with at least one set of batteries, probably two sets of replacement batteries for these things with whatever's already inside them. So, the first one here is a little standard little, well, I'd say it's a pocket LED light. They had them in several colors. I just got the bright, shiny silver aluminum color here, just because if I dropped it, I thought I'd be able to see that easier, pick it up easier with the glare of the moonlight, something like that. If I happen to pull it out of my pocket and drop it, something like that. I would keep this in my pocket for basic stuff. Nice, clean blue light. I just like that clean blue, crisp light there for general finding my way. This one runs on AAA's, 3 AAA's in this one. Got a little, tiny little lanyard, if you will, here, attached just to your keychain or whatever you want to do. It works fairly well. Next little click button on the back, that's it. No options, nothing like that. This is going to be basically for finding your way in the dark. Small, lightweight, easy to pull out and use as you need to. 3 LEDs, so in case for some reason, I guess, one having to puke out on you, you got 2 more. So that's good. Again, for $1, hard to pass up. You can buy batteries right here for $1. That's 8 AAA's for $1. Takes 3. So, this light plus batteries, $2, good to go. So I like this one. This is going to be my pocket carry one out of the 72-hour kit. Now I always carry a basic flashlight in my basic EDC, so hopefully I would have that with me too as another one. And one of mine runs on AAA's that I used to carry. The other one's on AA's, but I'm going to have backup for both those, so I'm going to have extra batteries if I need them. So this is a must, I think. Next up, this one. This is our more utilitarian light. This has a lot more options, I would say, to it, in my opinion. It's about as bright, not quite, as the 3 LEDs. This one's a 1 bulb one, so I'd worry about this one breaking a little easier, so I would not carry this one in my pocket quite as easily, I guess. I'd pull it out when I needed it. But what's interesting about this one, it's got this little rotating head on it, which is very nice for setting up, inside your tent, something like that. Setting on top of a car hood or anywhere you need to position the light to get it where you can see what you're working on, whatever you need to do. Of course, you could lay it on its side and adjust the beam any direction you needed to. I like that. I like that little option. Now, of course, we would worry about this thing breaking if it takes a fall, something like that. But, that's always a risk. Always has a little clip on the back of it, which would be good for putting it on your belt, or if you had a baseball cap, you could clip this onto that and make a little quasi headlamp. They did actually have some little headlamp style clip-on options at Dollar Tree, but they weren't as bright. They were little book lights, that type little things. I like this one better because they sold the batteries to replace it. This one takes 2 AA's. Again, you can get AA's for $1, 8 of them, so good to go there. I just think this is going to be a good little camp tool. You're sitting around trying to start a fire at night, something like that. It's dark out, you got your stuff out, but you can't see it. Well, turn it on, set it there, take care of business. Could you position this one to do the same thing? Yes, you could. This is just not going to be as easy to do so. This one's round. It's probably going to roll around a little bit. Going to be a little harder to stabilize and point the exact direction you need it in. So I just think this is a nice addition. Whichever, again, if you want to carry 2 of either type, that's all you. But I'm carrying both personally. Yeah, it's different style batteries, but hey, what if I happen to run into a spare flashlight laying around that's out of batteries? Get somebody else in the bug out situation who's camping out with me and their battery's out of juice. Well, I've got some spares for them, so we're good to go. So there's our basic lighting. You could also always get the bigger lights if you wanted to, the big C and D battery ones. You could, they put out a little more light, but you're not going to want to be moving around a lot at night. And if you are moving around, all you really need to see is what's right in front of you so you don't fall and break an ankle, something like that. Now, on the Fireside Lighting, we have this 80-hour or so, maybe 90 plus from what somebody sent me a vid response. I think this may be a little large, a little heavy overall, in my opinion. I like it. I like the idea of lighting this bad boy up if I'm camping out someplace for 72 hours. If I had to, I could keep it burning the entire time. Don't have to worry about it. Light it up, let it go. You're going to have to dump out some of the excess wax and all of that. That's okay. Put that into a little plastic bag or on a piece of tinfoil if you need some wax for various purposes. This thing's kind of big. It's quite heavy overall. I worry about breaking it because it's got a glass container around the outside, but it's quite thick. Don't know if you can see that particularly, but keep this inside your pack with all the other stuff wrapped around it for some insulation, shock resistance and all of that. I think it's going to be okay, but what if it does break? Well, if this thing shatters, I have actually done that with one of my 50-hour survival candles. One of them came broken and the glass was fairly shattered. It's still okay. You can break away the entire outside of this glass, a lot of people have, and sent me messages, and they put them down inside little metal tubes for pencil containers and all that. I was not able to find that at Dollar Tree, otherwise I'd have shown it and probably tried it out, just as a sturdier container. So if you've got that as an option, especially with a lid on top, you may want to carry this. The glass just adds a lot of extra weight for this one. And again, one is none, two is one. I don't know if I want to carry two of these necessarily. This is overkill. But if you want overkill, that's fine. Do that. Nothing wrong with that. What I probably would do is take either some of the little plastic from one of our plastic wrapper containers for the poncho or for all the other stuff we've had. I've got a little stash of those shoved in the corner. And I would cover the top of this and put a rubber band around it, wrap it up real tight, couple of loops. Just because if you're carrying this in hot temperatures like here in the south, this wax may melt. Now if it's sitting upright, it's not going to matter so much, but you set the bag down, it flips around, whatever, you may have wax all over your kit. That's probably not going to be that big of an option unless this thing's in the car or something like that, but I have seen that and experienced it personally, the wax melting and making a darn mess. So plastic wrap or tinfoil, something over the top. I'd go plastic probably because it's not going to puncture as easy as tinfoil. Wrap it around here, put a rubber band, just in case. Nice insurance option. But what I think I'm actually going to carry in the kit are these two Votive candles in glass. I would not necessarily call them Votive candles because they're bigger. They're not your standard little tea light candles, but little shot glasses, if you will, with candles in them. Two of them for $1. I don't know the exact burn time on these, but judging by the standard Votive candles, which will run you 3 to 4 hours, one of these should run you 8 to 10 hours, is a fair guess on one of these. I've not run that long. But two of these, again, if one happens to smash, fall apart, something like that, you break the glass and you don't feel comfortable using it, well, you got another one. Got backup. So two of these for $1. Like I say, let's call it 8 hours plus. That's 16 hours for two of them. That is more than enough lighting for after dark type conditions. Again, it's after dark. You need to settle down. Probably need to settle in for the night, get some sleep, get some rest. Do what you need to do to, get your gear ready and whatnot. But if you got a fire, that's great. If you don't, well, this is going to provide some light. Use this instead of your batteries if you're just sitting around the campfire or something like that, or sitting inside your tent in the dark and you need to see something. Use the candle. Again, also going to provide some heat, which is nice if you can't have a fire. You're stuck in a small shed somewhere in a bug out situation. You got your tarps, you got all that stuff, but you can't see and it's cold out. Well, you got things sealed up fairly tight as well as you can. Light this up. It's going to give you a little bit of heat. If you need to, light the other one up. Give you twice as much heat. So these two will definitely make it to the kit, I think. Overall, I think it's just good general purpose use for these two. I may actually keep them in the container here for a little bit of extra protection. Your little tea light Votive candles here. There's 16 of them. Yeah, 16 unscented candles in a pack for $1. We certainly don't need 16 of them. But we may want to carry a few just for insurance purposes. Carry 2 or 3, 4, something like that. Throw them in little plastic bags and all that. You may want to wrap one of these up and put it in our little wet bag for the medical kit. Whatever. Just a few of them if you want to. I will probably carry 2 or 3 of them. Again, like I said, with the melting option, if it gets too hot, what you want to do with these things, and I've done this before because I've paid the price of making a mess out of my little mini kits, my little Altowitz kits, are aluminum foil. Lots of uses. Wrap this thing up tight all the way around, cinch it down, maybe wrap it up twice with aluminum foil, just so that if it does happen to melt, it's not going to go anywhere other than inside the tin foil. And chances are it's not going to go very far at all, so you might melt and you may have a little rough top here on your votive candle, but that's going to be fine as soon as you light it up. These aren't going to be as usable for moving around and all as this one or this one, but a little extra insurance is good to have. So have a few of those around just in case, I'd say. I'd say probably 2 at a minimum. And if you had to, if this one was ever used up, you could always drop them down in here if you had to, if you need to carry them around and whatnot. But once you light these, you're going to keep them in place while they're burning. That's just the only safe way. I don't know if I'd want to light this up inside my tent, something like that, just in this container. But you could always put it down inside some of our other containers, like our bread pan and all that. If you need a lot of light, you can put several of them up in there and light them up. You don't have to worry about starting a fire or melting anything necessarily. So those are our lighting options. These two here, these two, and a few of these I think is enough. Throw this one in if you want. Again, like I said, for the weight and size, I don't know if I will. I really don't. So anyway, relatively cheap, relatively simple on lighting options. You can add more if you want to. I think this is going to get the job done quite well, quite easily, and for low cost. So there we go, 10.5 lighting options. MD Prepper, out.